So people would always ask me, how do you stay so consistent? How do you stay motivated when the passion has left you? How do you train so hard day in and day out like it doesn't affect you? And I never really had the answer for them at the time. But through the course of this season and all the things that I've learned, I think I've found my answer as to why. And by watching this video, I'm sure I can help you find yours. All right, so a bit about me. I've always been athletic. I've always been active. Anything I could get my hands on, basketball, football, tennis, track and field. I generally just loved playing sports and I loved being active. That came with the gym, that came with working out, that came with drills. So when people would ask me those questions, I didn't necessarily know how to answer them because from my personal experience, I just loved it. It was something that I loved to do. It was something I was capable of doing from since a young age. I was always one of the fastest persons either in the school or in my country. So if someone said, let's race, let's race, you know? But then I got hit with some reality. And that happened about 2 months ago when I ran 10.20 seconds in the 100 meter twice. Now, that was a personal best at the time and a national record for my country that I represent. Even from the videos that my coach took after the race, where he's congratulating me and everyone around me is congratulating me, you could even see it in my face. It wasn't a disappointment because I was genuinely happy. I had achieved this new level that I had been dreaming of for so long. And I wanted to celebrate, but in the moment it rang hollow. Now, see, for about a month after I ran that race, I was just going through the emotions. Showing up to practice, I was just running just for the sake of running. I have no clue how I really made it through that time because all that was going in my mind was quitting. I don't know if whether it was just for respect to my coach or just because it had been such a big part of my routine for so long that I just did it and did it and did it. But internally, I was just blank. There was no emotions, there was no passion, there was no drive. I was just training just to train. And it took, honestly, I would say about a month and a half, weeks, to even come up with my own explanation for it. It wasn't burnout because that's what I thought it was. I thought I just needed rest. I just ran a very quick time. I just needed rest. And the more I rest, the worse I felt, the less I wanted to run, even with more rest. And I realized it wasn't rest. It was expectation. Now see, as I said, 10.2 is an incredible achievement. It's a huge goal. But then when you start looking at the facts, when you start looking at the situation, that meet that I ran was Velocity Fest 19. In the heats, I ran 10.2 and I came second to Brian Lavelle, who ran 10.06, I think. In the finals, I came third, running the same 10.2. And even though, as I said, people were congratulating me, it was a very good time, but internally, I started to do the numbers. Well, yeah, I ran 10.2, but this guy ran 10.06. And the fastest guy in the finals was 9.91. Why are we celebrating my achievement when I'm not even nowhere near where I should be or need to be to compete with these guys, you know? And that's when it really hit me internally. Yes, I had ran a big improvement, but all I did was add another rung to the ladder that I intended for myself to climb. It was just another step up the mountain of an ever increasingly getting higher mountain that I set for myself. So no amount of time would have made me feel better because I didn't win. I didn't get the glory. I didn't get the medal. And I didn't get the recognition. I got recognition from the people around me and the people of my home country. But the thing about goals, once you set one, once you get it, there's immediately a next one to achieve. And that's the issue. So again, let's say your goal is to lose weight. You start off strong. You're dieting, you're in the gym, you're doing your cardio, you're walking, running, biking, whatever. Eventually, you're going to hit a road bump. Your brain is going to start saying, hey man, listen, this is getting too hard. I remember when we were eating cupcakes. I remember when we were eating KFC and all this different stuff. And internally, that motivation that you set because you had that goal and that destination, it's going to slowly stop being as important to you because your mind has been telling you, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. Every time you use motivation, you take a little bit of water out of that bottle. Now, your brain only has so much in a limited amount of time. So day one, you use up 20% of the bottle. Day two, another 20%. Day three, 30%. Now you're running on empty. And that's why it's so easy to fall back into old habits a week or two after you try to change them, because your brain, you're living off that motivation and your brain only has so much of it. So when you try to make a change and you're going off that motivation, it eventually will run dry. And that's where people get that burnout. Now, I had realized that despite my initial love for sprinting and being the reason that I was able to do it for so long and do it so well, somewhere was a transition. I don't know whether it's just my personal competitiveness, but there was a transition somewhere where it became more than just fun for me. It became something I had to do, something I needed to do, something I needed to do to satisfy myself and to fulfill myself. So when I finally reached that level, I needed something else to fulfill myself. And that's the trap that a lot of people fall into. They have all these goals. They want to start a YouTube channel. They want to lose weight. They want to become a better singer, a better artist, learn a language. And they set this big goal in their mind. I need to learn this language by the end of the year. This is my New Year's resolution. I need to do this by September. I need to do this by December. If I'm not 50 pounds off by the next 3 months, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And that's the issue. We have to fall in love with the journey. If you fall in love with the number, if you fall in love with the time, if you fall in love with the sound, the weight, the scale, you're forever going to be in a loop where every number you chase will bring you to another number that you eventually will have to chase. And it'll just be a cycle until you eventually burn yourself out. You don't want to do it no more. You go back to the cupcake and you stop. And that's what I realized. I had begun thinking in destinations. Just coming up, I just loved it. I loved to train. I loved to go out there, run fast. But once it started getting real, once I started racing Brian Lavelle and dudes who were running sub 10, it was no longer fun. Now it's eat or be eaten. And if I can't compete, what am I? So once I made that switch, and it was a decent switch, it wasn't overnight, I slowly started to get my love back for the sport. I'm still tired. I still have heavy legs and I wake up being like, oh, my back is sore, my hamstrings are sore, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. But then as soon as I get on that track and I warm up and I lace up my spikes and I get into my stride, it's back. I love it because that's how I always been. Now, don't get me wrong. I still find myself calculating sometimes where I need to run this time. I need to do this. I need to beat this guy at this meet. I need to do this and do that and achieve this level because I'm just a competitor. It's who I am. I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't. But the key for me is just to always stay on the journey. One habit that I've built over this season is a short prayer before every race. Whenever you see me, after I get in front of my blocks, I do a slight jump, get my body warm, then I stoop down onto my hands and to my knees. And I say a short prayer. Please, Lord, just one more. Let me get one more. Because I realized that's the key for me. I could get injured. I could lose the race and come last. I could win the race and come first. I could run a personal best. I could do anything in that race. But that's not my goal. My goal is to race. So whether I win, whether I lose, whether I get injured, hopefully not, God forbid, but I just wanted to make sure that I instill in myself, I just want to race. So, regardless of the outcome, just give me one more good race. And that's all I ask. I would say to break it up into two different sides: your goal and your dream. So, for me, my goal is to win. That's my goal. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, I'm not going to hide it. I want to beat the best, I want to race against the best, and dominate. But the key is in that sentence. That's your dream. My dream isn't to win. That's my goal. My dream is to train, compete, and run. Train to the best of my ability, compete against the best, and run as much as possible for as long as possible. That's my dream. And that simple switch has enabled me to just be better and get back to that I love what I'm doing mindset. Because I'm loving the journey of training, block starts, accelerations, competing against the best, lining up, getting set, boom, gunshot, and just enjoying that moment. So if you're stuck chasing destinations, this simple advice: start thinking in journeys. The man who loves to walk will always walk farther and faster and whatever else than the man who loves the destination. By building those little 1% improvements daily and loving every second of it, you'll go much farther than someone who sets a 100% goal for the month and stops after 2 weeks. This has been Kev, Training Diaries Part 1, signing out. I just want to speak a bit about what Training Diaries is. So it's just this little series that I had thought up where I have a lot of things that have happened in my life as an athlete and as a person. And I just want to use the platform that I've been given to kind of dispel some knowledge and help others who may be going through the same thing or just need some answers to some questions. And just trying to explore the psyche or the mental state and the physical state of an athlete and what it takes to be an athlete. So, yeah.